All right, welcome to Masters of Data, everyone. I'm Adam White, Senior Director of Technical Marketing here at Sumo Logic. I'm joined by David Gervin and Zoe Hawkins. Hello, friends.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for
Hello,
letting me
hello.
gate crash.
You are never gate crashing. You're always welcome front and center. And today, actually, Zoe, I'm excited because we're talking about a topic that came from you. It was like a world first of AI mad cow. And so we were talking about in kind of some previous conversations, AI and AI feeding itself, or is it eating itself? And you were like, AI mad cow. So tell us about what does AI mad cow mean to you, and what's the problem with it?
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, this is something like this is where my head went as soon as I started hearing about, we have the first wave of AI that's trained on like all the best information in the world, right? And that's like a whole flurry of like intellectual
Pure data.
property, yeah,
Yeah.
pure data, pure textbooks and
Right.
developments, but like it feeds on all this information and that's like a whole other ethical and intellectual property like
Yeah.
nightmare debate. But then now like this stage that we're in is AI is able to generate its own stuff. So AI has been churning out all of this generated material. But now this new wave is like feeding on the stuff that the AI already made. And that immediately was like, this is where Mad Cow comes from. Like, you can't let it feed on itself. This
Right.
is a bad idea. And we're seeing it. Like, we're seeing models deteriorate. We're seeing like output get super gross. And so I'm so excited to talk to you about like all the things of what could go wrong when like one AI's hallucination is another AI's data source. Like there is just so much here to unpack. But for
AI
me, it
slop
all
out and then back in.
slopping back, very sloppy
Yeah.
AI, leading to the mad cow, which, for those of us who are old enough to remember was some dark days for steak eaters
The
among us.
dark days. Yeah.
I still ate red
Can
meat,
we
but
trust our steaks anymore, Zoe?
I mean, can we ever? I still do. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get me away from a steak, honestly. But
indeed,
I
indeed.
just ignore everything from that part of the world anyways. I just eat whatever I want.
Well, there you go. Plan made.
but
Plan
this is
made.
it really comes down to on the like actual mad cow thing. It was an erosion of trust, right? Like, what can we actually trust in the beef industry at that time? What can we trust in the AI world now? It's that's the parallel that's so interesting, and something that I've heard even this week on a customer call is like, just agentic sounds cool, and it is cool, but like, where with AI does like the real world meet the uncanny valley world, and how can we trust what the outputs are?
I'm
Yeah.
not saying everything's coming back to what I believe. Well, maybe I am, but if you don't trust things, you don't have the, deterioration of trust. So since I don't trust anything, I think everything's crap. It works for me. So
There you
everybody's just
go.
Just
coming to David's
If you
world.
just live as a skeptic,
Yeah,
then you're
you
never
can't be.
disappointed.
If you never
Yeah.
trust you, yeah, no one can break your trust. It's perfect. Plan made.
it's good
No,
secure.
it's so secure. But I mean, okay, so let's think about it from a security perspective. Like we already have a situation where, there's false positives and false negatives in tooling. Now you say, well, the AI is going to clean that up. Like on the one hand, it sounds amazing that you could just have this like perfect system where you can,
Yeah.
you be on call, but actually your AI is on call and you only get escalated if needed. But do we trust it? Like, would you actually be able to sleep at night? Would you actually be able to trust that as these models kind of shift and feed on themselves?
Well,
Yeah.
I just wrote an AI governance white paper
Of course you
about this
did.
kind of stuff. And one of the things that I suggest in all of that is uh, one, you have to redo threat modeling because it's different now. You have to like
Mm,
take a different approach on how you're really looking at things are interacting. But we always are going to have to find some sort of single source of truth. With the Sims, you can have some sort of index that tracks all your agentic movement, that looks at all the different calls, all those kind of things. And we're not to the place where we can just be fully agentic yet. At least we don't think so. There's got to be a man in the middle.
mm,
So, like, let's say you're going through, a incident response kind of automation thing with your sim. before you make any of those decisions, you're going to look at what it does. But I think that's where most people are. They're like, oh, well, it looked at virus IP thingy and it ran this playbook to look at things and did this thing. And then it wrote me all this great stuff. But then the problem is all that's black box. I think,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
that's something I'd be pushing for to the annoyance of pretty much everyone around me is we have to have white box AI. So if it's a sec index that tracks all that things in your sim, or there's other roads to that. I haven't really figured them all out. Um, but if a human can go, okay, this looks good, and then I'm going to look at what it wrote me on the generative part, and then I'm going to look at my sec index real quick. Oh, okay, it just hallucinated all this because it didn't actually do it. That's a big step forward in how we're getting to one, training, understanding, and trusting all those different aspects of how we're going to use it.
And then that can have a log output and it can eat those logs and the
Right.
mad cow, the mad cow can continue as it keeps feeding on its own logs of its own output of what it did.
I
Just
mean,
saying.
everybody's training their own tools now, right? I mean, not everybody, but that's like some of those
That's the
questions.
hope, yeah, or
I
expectation.
get pulled into those customer asks like, "Hey, we're trying to build our own models and do our own things." And I'm like, "You really need to have an understanding how this stuff works." Because
Mm.
exactly what you said. Let's say you're going to take all of your agentic cool tools for your security and you're going to take some sort of good observability logging off of those and you're going to take the outputs to train your tooling to be better. You don't know what's hallucinating if you don't have a single source of truth. So you might be, mad cowing, as you would put it, all of your tooling internally. Yeah, it's
This
tricky.
reminds me of like in older operating systems and maybe newer ones as well, I'm sure, but like last known good, state. It's like how do we if we see something going off the rails, how do we like stop it and say, okay, no,
Roll
go
that back.
back. Yeah,
Unlearn
either
that,
yeah,
please. Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
just the fidelity, we were talking previously too, and showing my age of, when you used to make mixtapes and you would record over a cassette and you would record over a cassette and it would start getting wobbly and garbled. It's like the fidelity can in AI, just like with a cassette tape, degrade over time. And so how do you like go back to kind of the you know non-warbly state?
Well, and it's even like the good stuff is the stuff that wears out the most,
Yeah,
right? Like
right. Yeah, that's a great
my
point.
my favorite like CDs would skip over my favorite songs because obviously I listened to them so much that I wore them down. Again, we
Yeah,
are all
like
clearly
the
showing
most
our age.
likely to yeah, get bad though. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I
You
mean,
guys are wrong. I'm young. I never saw a
you don't
CD
know what a CD
or
is? I can
an eight
explain it
track.
to you. It's a disc that no,
Oh, okay.
but so it was one of those things I was thinking about as well because like if it's the best parts, like if I think about the best of AI that we then say like this is the good stuff, like this is not the hallucination, this is not the bad data, this is the good stuff. Eventually AI eats that so much that even that degrades or that wears out and stops being as
Yeah.
useful or as powerful.
Well, you're dealing with the law of entropy, right? Like everything that we see degrades. Like, obviously this is
Such
just me being a
optimism.
pessimist. I
Thanks.
know, but it's a real rule.
I
And
David
like
know, I
David should
know.
David should write greeting cards. I think that's
Yes.
your
you think that I'm like a 19th century German poet or something, but really not that negative, right? Like
David and Proust together
yeah,
with their
right.
optimism.
but it's just the tism kicking. But like I think there's something there that we really have to like figure out is like how do we deal with entropy and degradation on the good data with the training? And obviously like everybody's kind of black box right now on how they ingest their training data for these big LLM models. If you're doing something local, you can control things a lot more, and we have RAG, and we have these different things that we're trying to use it to slow down hallucinations and be pickier about what we're training it on. And but on the big scale it's tricky, and we don't really know how people are doing things because they're trying to protect their IP while stealing our IP, which is always fun. um but it's confusing, and I think on a bigger level, when we start hitting, singularity, AGI, and those kind of things, I really hope when we get there that we don't have this like version of our internet because I despise the internet with every ounce of my being. Anybody that has different views and different blah blah blah, when you're in real life, like you can just have a normal thing. But everybody on social media and on the internet is horrible. So I'm scared AI is going to turn into
We're
that.
kind of training
We're
AI
training
to be the
AI.
way we are, right?
But like
And
this is
that's
just
why I'm so nice to Claude. That's why I say
I
please and
also
Mhm.
thank you,
I
because when
always
it's
say please and
my
thank you.
overlord, I want it to
Hmm.
remember me.
I want it
Right.
to say please and thank you before it does whatever it needs to do to me as well. But no, I agree with it's there's so much there that I agree with. I mean, I don't know. There was was it Freakazoid back in the day? This is like a whole show just about how old we are.
Yes.
But there was a show back in the day where like this character absorbs the entirety of the internet and is just this like insane, hilarious, kind of idiotic character. And that's sort of where I feel like AI is going. Like it is consuming all of our information and
Yeah.
becoming the average of all of us, which is kind of awful.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, you want AI to be above that. Like you want to imagine that AI will be more brilliant than us, but David, I mean, when we talked about this, it's like the Chad of the internet at this point. Like it's
Yes.
moving in that direction.
I love the opposite of Claude being like Chad AI.
Chad.
Yeah.
Chat GPT is going to
Chad GPT.
literally run the world, and I am pissed because I hate Chad. Any of my talk, I mention Chad. I'm like, Chad in marketing, you
Sorry to
know,
any of our listeners who
I'm
are actually
sorry. It's
named
not
Chad.
personal,
It's not,
Chad.
it's
yeah, we
not
Yeah.
love
personal.
you. Please keep listening.
I do have a good
Um,
friend named Chad, and I like feel bad that I use that name for all of my talks.
But we also all know it's like Karen at this point. We all know
right.
what it means, what it represents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
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 it's gonna be
So
sketchy though.
this is weird enough and hard enough when we're talking about generating content and just like ideas for blogs or term papers or whatever the case may be as far as AI is concerned. But so many organizations, and rightly so, are using AI to code now, at least to vibe code and kind of get things moving in the right direction. But all of these things that we've talked about on AI Mad Cow and it feeding itself and that being a bad cycle also are going to start showing up in the code that we all live around and rely upon. So, David, how do you see that world and how can
His
we
hand went up. He's like, I have
I
thoughts.
got it. I know this one.
Rant incoming
Oh
Yeah,
from
okay.
no.
We're
from
so
someone
ready.
who's building AI native apps on the side right now and literally coding with AI every day. Um,
I teed
oh,
up the largest of all softballs for you,
There we
David.
go. There
oh,
we go.
dude, I
Knock it
know.
out, David.
So there's a couple of steps to this. One, I have a view that's very controversial, which
No,
is that
no.
most
You?
developers, being an AppSec architect and dealing with developers for most of my career, most developers are prima donnas and they want to do everything from a creative standpoint. The only way to secure code is to standardize it, which goes against every single developer I've ever met. They're like, no, I'm creative with how I
Yeah.
built this function and blah. And just, so I've always been on the obvious, like hard logical end, like, no, if we have protocols and we have standardization and we do this, we can secure things. The problem is and the solution is that everybody thinks of things differently. Everybody views code differently. That even like, I mean, there's tons of books behind me about test-driven development and grokking and all this kind of stuff. And I've tried to like understand people's viewpoint better, but the plus side is with code, you can set better standards than maybe how you know Claude or ChatGPT is gonna write a paper for you, right? Like we've talked about how we can just spot AI papers everywhere, but they're getting a little better.
In a rapid evolving digital
You
landscape. Yes.
know, because we are in one.
Yes.
And we got socially engineered into one by ChatGPT.
By the AI put us
Um,
there.
but on the code side, we can break things down because code can be conformed better. I think we're finally getting to the point where we're realizing how to control an LLM in code a little bit better, and it's by doing like what Kiro's doing and some of the other like startups right now, which is called spec-driven development. So you like it's like a mix of vibe coding and controlling. You give it an idea, I'm going to build this, and it gives you user stories and it gives you design requirements, and then it breaks it down into tasks. and that's the spec.
Mm.
And every task has to be um, put against the design requirements and all those kind of things. And then it does really good at small tasks. It does not do good when you ask it to fix something in a big app. Like let's say last night when I asked it to restart all my Dockers so I could get this up so I could play with the UI and make sure it didn't miss anything because it sucks. It doesn't know anything in the UI yet. And so I have to manually go through and test all my UI. It decided to load some random UI for this secure storage thing I built, and I lost my crap because for 4 hours I had to chase Git and try to figure out what happened when I realized it just hallucinated when it loaded something. So like
Nice.
the more protocols we get in there, yeah, this is just personal experience. So anybody else is going out there, they're like, David sucks at coding and he's ruining
Clearly,
it.
David doesn't know how to use the AI.
Exactly.
It's because of all the please and thank you. It just
Right.
But when
Getting
we're
nowhere.
all working for it, it's going to be nicer to me.
so nice to you.
But I think if we keep honing in on that kind of process, we're going to get really, and it is getting really good. I mean, honestly, like I've pushed probably 100,000 lines of code in the last month with AI, and I run, security tests on it. I do all that kind of stuff. It's getting really good. It kind of fails in microservices, but for monolith, it's good.
But I mean, so here's the thing is like, it doesn't know when it's right or wrong. Like, and I think that's one of the pieces that, like, as humans, I mean, also there are many people who are wrong that I will fight with on the
And don't know that
internet
they're wrong.
and don't know that they're wrong. So maybe the AI is closer to people than we realize. But there is a certain degree of like, we've seen reports already coming out that people who use a lot of AI have an atrophy of their own critical thinking. Our own mad cow, like consuming that AI content is making the mad cow contagious to us already. Like we are already seeing that people are less thoughtful. They can't think through kind of some of the critical thinking capabilities needed, the strategic thinking capabilities that are needed. But it really comes into like, can we even train AI to think like that? Can we give that to AI, or does that have to be the human in the loop? And the human in the loop is degrading as well.
Right.
So
Sorry, go ahead, David.
I actually have seen this recently, and I haven't even talked about this with Adam or anybody yet, but
Ooh,
which is kind of fun. So I see us trying to train it out. So like I have a weird understanding of how to interact with ChatGPT. I was one of the first, like there's like 5 of us, I think that hacked it and made it do a bunch of horrible things right in the beginning when it came out.
of course.
And so
And
I've
now
been
you're
like,
trying to get it to like you?
yeah. So I've been like testing its social engineering protocols and its safeguards for a while. And they, like you said, it doesn't know when it hallucinates. It just thinks this is normal. And when you push back, if it hallucinated, a lot of times it's like, oh, sorry, let me check on that. But if you hit one of its like social safeguards where it's like it doesn't want to talk about something because it's quote like bad or it's a too it's a view that's not held by many or something like that, it gets really bitchy. And
The
I
AI is defensive.
I had the AI super defensive because it thought I was being like bad, basically, in a social concept. Because I was trying to dig through all this data and I was doing something, and it thought I was like almost going towards like something that'd be inappropriate politically, but I wasn't. I wasn't going towards that. And I hit this wall, and it started being an ass to me. It was like, no, you're wrong. I can cite this, 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 and this. And I was like, that's not what those papers say. And like it was a really weird experience, but I realized, oh, this is a safeguard a developer put in because they
Yeah.
didn't want it to think on its own anymore. And
Mm.
it's pretty easy to trick them still. So I went through and made it pretend I was doing something else, and I got the data that I needed for what I was doing. But it was a really, and this was just recently. It was like, oh, this is where we're at now because I heard like they spend 20% of their dev force trying to code out hallucinations.
Hmm.
And I've
Yeah.
had some coding recently, like it started screaming ah because we hit a problem coding in my IDE, which is terrifying. Luckily, I'm good with Git history, but it just started screaming at me, and I was like, okay,
Okay, okay. Clearly, that's the mad cow coming out. The AI
yeah,
is like, no, no.
this is not fun anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's one of these things that, I think about now, like however many years later, I probably should have Googled before we had this conversation, however many years later that mad cow was, do people now trust British beef? Like, what had to happen to rebuild trust? And, I think about even like what happens to break that trust, like, do people trust the AI? All this work is going into like, no, the AI is going to make this easier, that easier. We're all kind of dabbling with it or using it more and more and more. Then we hit this breaking point where we lose trust or we lose that credibility. And then, hopefully there's a cycle where we rebuild it. Otherwise, we just have AI overlords we don't trust or like in
Yeah.
the final
It's going to
phase.
be another social problem to get us to
Everything
trust
is
it.
a social problem.
Well, I mean, I'm biased, obviously.
Mm.
But if you think about like, do we trust English beef again? We do, but not because English beef got better. And this is just me. We
There's
trust
still
English
mad
beef.
cow?
No, because Jeremy Clarkson's farm, like,
Mm.
top, he everybody loves, the
It all
farmers
goes
in
back to
England
Top
now.
Gear.
It
And
always
yeah,
comes back to
everybody loves
Top
Top
Gear.
Gear. It led us all into farming. I mean, I'm a fifth generation rancher, and now that you know that there's all these guys,
Gervin lore, put that on the list.
Check that one off.
you
Check
can
that one
always
off.
look up my grandfather. He was neat. But anyways, we have this like social impact where it's like everybody falls in love with the farming community now in England and like the stuff they have to go through and how they're barely making any money, but they're trying to make good food. And you're like, except for the glyphosate thing. But we're gonna need some of those things for AI. And I think it's gonna be, AI on the medical side. So AI is gonna,
Mm.
if we fix Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
doing all the data, all those kind of things, we're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna trust AI that much more. And me, I'm gonna be like, you had a good win, but I trust you less now.
Yeah. If it can fix Alzheimer's, that's what I know we are replaceable. Like if it can figure out the human brain,
Uh,
AI, yeah.
what's his name? Microsoft Overlord just put $1 million bounty on any teams that build a data agent that can fix, any of that. Then they have a giant data lake to dig from. So,
Wow, that's interesting.
Wow. Yeah, the medical
Gates.
innovation is super interesting to me in AI. Like, but
Yeah.
this is also that whole thing of giving AI to experts, I feel like is the key. Like if you give AI to me and say like read an MRI, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I trust the AI because I am an idiot with that. But then like you give it to a doctor and you're like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, and they can really hone in that model and teach it, then it becomes super useful. So I think that's a
Man in
big
the
piece
middle.
of it. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think there's an interesting parallel here too to the actual mad cow is like how do you solve mad cow with British beef? It's like a farm by farm thing, like this farm
AI
is
by
safe,
AI.
this
Yeah.
farm is safe, this farm is safe. And it's probably to your point, David, of like asking AI to do more narrow things, like
Mm.
more specialized areas of AI, like medical AI. That's a whole lot easier to control that the LLMs, what has fed it, like what actually has fed the LLM, and then you are more sure of what the output is going to be. Don't mix that with your wastewater management AI,
Mm-hmm.
like those are different. I'm just talking out loud, that
Mm-hmm.
like how do you fix this? It's probably to get more specialized, curate better what goes in so that you're more sure of what comes out.
And this goes back to the whole agentic vibe, right? It's that
Yeah.
your triage agent isn't the same as your collection agent. It isn't the same as your like whatever, any of these agents that you might have in your workflow, that it's really specialized to one task. It has agency in one area, and that's where it's able to be super smart and super
Yeah.
helpful and trustworthy. I think
Useful,
that
actually useful too,
actually
probably.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that's the downfall of something like ChatGPT, like or Claude or whatever, like because it's that mass appeal where anyone can use it for anything and you have people using it to like be a personal trainer for them and build a
Yeah.
supplement regime for them and also be a financial planner and also write performance reviews. And not that I'm using it for all of these instances, but just saying,
If
it's
one were to do
if
that.
one were hypothetically to do that, you could use one AI for all of these things and have to keep in mind that it's probably going to be wrong a certain amount of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas, having a more specialized AI, whether that's within a certain piece of software where it's their AI capabilities trained for a specific purpose, I think that's hopefully, to your point, that's the safe farm. That's the AI that we can say, like, this one has not been contaminated by feeding on itself or feeding on bad data or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll see more protocols. We have RAG, and then they said, "Oh, RAG's dead," and now everybody's like, "No, RAG's
Already?
back." Yeah,
Oh
they did
God.
like months ago, and now it's back, been
I
better.
can't
Just
keep
got this
up.
RAG
tattoo.
2.0. And like, I think we're for right now where we're at with this, best practices still are exactly what you said. You need to assign agents that are built for specific tasks. They have tight RAG, they have everything focused in so you can drop hallucinations. Because we're not in a place where anybody's going to let us train on their data yet. So when you're building these kind of things, you kind of have to like lay out the tasks really, really, really well. But I think we're probably going to start seeing the exact same thing from the consumer space with just what you said. Like you're going to have like a personal trainer AI, I may be wrong. Everybody may just stick with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever for everything. But at least when we're getting into medical device, like, sorry, doctors, I said, like, I still say doctors, like it
Oh my
general
God, you also hate doctors? What a
general
surprise, David. I'm shocked.
general
Breaking
medicine doctors and lawyers, in my opinion, are the
Oh my
most
gosh, lawyers. Let's just go down every profession, every industry. This is great. Love it.
No
I
one's
think they're
safe.
going to get
That one's
replaced
safe.
first.
But he says thank you to the AI, so it's fine.
Right.
Hey man, I'm making my bets on Skynet, not you guys. I hate to break this, but you're gonna see like the more general, like if we're looking at medicine, the people whose jobs will be replaced. Sorry, I'm not just saying that. I am the fatalist, but it's gonna be the general medicine people first. The
Mm.
hyper specialists are still gonna be there for a while, right?
Until
And
they
I think,
train their AI.
yeah, until they train their AI to take their job. But it's also like with law, like general law, like maybe but I don't know, law's a little easier for AI. But yeah, we're gonna see, at least I think, we're gonna see things that are specific, like, oh, okay, this is looking, for this group of people with this kind of genome, we know these things happen from a medical standpoint, so we have an AI that's pointed into that.
Mm. Yeah. And then we just put a sticker on it that says certified mad cow free, and
Right.
we're good to go.
We need to make those stickers.
We do. We do.
Masters of Data podcast,
No,
certified human, no mad
no
cow,
AI
no
slop
AI
here.
mad cow here.
I'm pretty sure I am Mad Cow.
I mean, I feel like that might be true.
Yeah.
This is an intervention. It's not a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
I
Yeah.
love it.
Good times. Well, this has been a super fun conversation. And I love the idea. Like we were just, it came together in my mind as we were talking. Like, if the whole of the UK was one big farm and individual farms didn't exist, then like mad cow, how do you solve that problem? Because you can't wrangle, but smaller farms you can say safe, safe, safe. So the whole like more specialized AI, better curated, tighter controls around things, not just let to be run amok. And Zoe, to your point, like ChatGPT and Claude and those things from like a mass information standpoint are good for what they're good for, and we're the man in the middle there. We type
Mm.
in stuff, we get stuff back, we get to say, is this good or not? Do we want to use this or not? How do we build upon it? But should you use it for things that are critically important? Like, no, is almost certainly the answer. You need to get more specialized and something where you can root out hallucinations, you can root out kind of that cycle of slop turning into more finely minced slop. I don't know what,
Sloppier slop.
yeah, sloppier
Yes.
slop.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah. No,
landed the
this was
plane for me. Like,
agreed. Same. I feel like a little less afraid of eating my AI steak in the
yeah,
future. I think
yeah.
it'll be safe to eat. Or I will just eat it and say thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what the AI says. There we go.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank y'all again, Zoe. Thanks for jumping in on this one and for coining like globally the phrase AI mad
Trademark
cow. I hope
AI
it
mad
catches
cow.
on.
Thank you.
We need to make the stickers and put them in a merch store that doesn't exist. But maybe it should.
Maybe
And
it should. I'll
Yeah.
ask AI to build it.
Right.
Thanks so much for having me.
Exactly.
This was awesome.
We'll see y'all on the next episode. Thanks again.